actress, director, producer Diane Keaton has died at the age of 79. We don't know the circumstances surrounding her death yet.
The world was left in shock when news broke of Diane Keaton's sudden passing. But what no one expected was the footage that followed, revealing her final moments inside that hospital room. The video showed Diane rising from her bed just seconds before everything went dark. But nothing could be more terrifying than what happened next. Let's break it down. The shocking news and final days. The entertainment world was rocked to its core when news broke that legendary actress Diane Keaton had passed away at the age of 79. The Oscar-winning icon, beloved for her roles in classics like Annie Hall, The Godfather, and Something's Gotta Give, left us on October 11th, 2025, in what can only be described as a sudden and heartbreaking turn of events that has left Hollywood and fans worldwide grappling with an immense sense of loss.
We have some sad news out of Hollywood today. Actress, director, producer Diane Keaton has died at the age of 79. We don't know the circumstances surrounding her death yet, but we do know her incredible body of work, including Annie Hall, Something's Got to Give, Marvin's Room.
The circumstances surrounding her death paint a picture that is both poignant and deeply private, honoring the woman who spent her entire career balancing vulnerability with an unwavering commitment to authenticity. On that fateful Saturday morning, October 11th, 2025, at precisely 8:08 a.m. Pacific Time, the Los Angeles Fire Department received a 911 call for medical assistance at Keaton's Brentwood residence. What began as what appeared to be a routine Saturday morning in the quiet, leafy enclave of Brentwood, where Keaton had rooted her post-Hollywood life with her adopted children and beloved pets, would tragically become her final day on this earth. The dispatch audio from that morning, later obtained and partially released by TMZ, captures the stark professionalism of the emergency response with a haunting two-word phrase, "person down." Those two simple words have since reverberated through news cycles and social media, evoking images of a sudden collapse in the familiarity of home. Paramedics arrived swiftly, a testament to the efficiency of Los Angeles' emergency services, and within minutes, an ambulance was dispatched, transporting the 79-year-old actress to a nearby hospital. The journey, likely no more than 10 to 15 minutes given the proximity of facilities like Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center, bridged the gap between domestic crisis and clinical intervention. But tragically, it was a bridge she would not cross back. Upon arrival at the hospital, Keaton was placed under immediate medical care, though the precise nature of the interventions, whether resuscitation efforts, diagnostic scans, or palliative measures, has not been publicized, in line with protocols for celebrity cases and the family's expressed wishes for privacy. Reports indicate she succumbed later that same day, though the exact hour remains undisclosed, adding to the ethereal quality of her exit. Some outlets speculate it was in the early afternoon, aligning with the timing of initial confirmations from her camp. Her longtime producer, Dory Rath, broke the news first to CNN around 3:21 p.m. PT, stating simply that Keaton had passed, a confirmation that rippled outward to People magazine and the New York Times within hours. By sunset on October 11th, tributes were flooding social media platforms, with X, formerly Twitter, posts lamenting the sudden nature of it all. One user poignantly noted, "Better call your mother," capturing the maternal warmth that Keaton exuded both on and off screen, a sentiment that resonated deeply with countless fans who saw in her not just a Hollywood star, but a reflection of their own mothers, aunts, and beloved family members. But what makes this story even more heartbreaking is what we've learned about the months leading up to that tragic October morning. The prelude to Keaton's passing had been marked by a noticeable withdrawal from the public eye, a shift that those close to her described as both deliberate and deeply concerning. In the months leading up to October 2025, Keaton's health had declined very suddenly, according to sources familiar with her situation, transforming the once vibrant star, known for her energetic appearances in films like Book Club, into a more isolated figure who had retreated from the spotlight she had graced for over 6 decades. She had not been seen in public since early 2024, when paparazzi captured her shopping in Los Angeles, bundled in her signature oversized layers and wide-brimmed hats, the iconic style that had become synonymous with her name. By mid-2025, whispers among friends and industry insiders pointed to physical frailty and emotional introspection. Keaton, ever the candid memoirist who had shared so much of her life through her writing, had hinted at such vulnerabilities in her books, but these final months were shrouded in an uncharacteristic silence that, in retrospect, speaks volumes about what she must have been experiencing. Compounding this was her decision to list her longtime Pacific Palisades dream home for sale sale, a sprawling, architecturally eclectic property she had cherished for decades and had once sworn she would never leave. This real estate move, valued at $8.5 million, symbolized a quiet reconfiguration of her life, perhaps an unconscious preparation for its close, though no one, not even those closest to her, could have anticipated the rapidity with which events would unfold. The sale of this dream home, filled with her artistic flourishes and the memories of raising her 2 adopted children, was more than just a real estate transaction. It was a farewell to a chapter of life that had defined her for so many years. The immediate aftermath of her passing unfolded with a complex mix of mourning and controversy that highlighted the double-edged sword of celebrity in the modern age. The release of the 911 dispatch audio by TMZ just hours after Rath's statement ignited fierce backlash from fans who decried it as an unconscionable invasion of grief during one of the family's darkest hours. Social media erupted with criticism, with posts decrying the outlet for prioritizing scoops over sensitivity and basic human decency, especially given the family's explicit request for space and privacy. No cause of death has been released at this time, and the family asks for privacy during this difficult period. This tension highlighted a painful reality. Keaton's life had been public, her vulnerabilities shared in books and interviews with remarkable candor, yet her death demanded the intimacy she had so fiercely guarded throughout her life. It was a reminder that even the most open and generous public figures deserve dignity in their final moments, and that there are lines that should never be crossed, no matter how hungry the public may be for information. On a practical level, the passing prompted swift considerations of her estate, estimated at around $100 million, a fortune amassed through savvy real estate flips, like her Laguna Beach home sold for $12.75 million in 2006, and residuals from timeless films that continue to generate revenue decades after their release. This wealth will pass to her 2 adopted children, daughter Dexter, 30, born in 1995, and son Duke, 24, born in 2001, both of whom she raised as a single mother in a home filled with books, dogs, laughter, and the echoes of her eclectic career. No will details have surfaced publicly, but insiders suggest a straightforward inheritance, free from the dramatic disputes that have plagued other Hollywood estates, reflecting Keaton's characteristically no-nonsense approach to family and her fierce desire to protect her children from the circus of celebrity. But to truly understand the depth of this loss and appreciate the remarkable woman we've lost, we need to journey back through the battles she fought, the triumphs she celebrated, and the legacy she built over more than 6 decades in the spotlight. A life of battles and triumphs. To truly understand the magnitude of what we lost when Diane Keaton passed, we need to delve deep into the remarkable journey that was her life, a journey marked by extraordinary professional achievements, yes, but also by deeply personal battles that she fought with the same grace and determination that characterized her most memorable performances. Diane Keaton's health journey was as layered and resilient as the characters she portrayed, a tapestry of triumphs over chronic vulnerabilities that she confronted with unflinching candor. From youthful battles with an eating disorder that shadowed her rise to stardom, to repeated skirmishes with skin cancer that tested her body's limits well into her later decades, Keaton's medical history offers a sobering counterpoint to her public image of quirky invincibility. Her earliest and perhaps most psychologically entrenched health battle was with bulimia nervosa, an eating disorder that infiltrated her life during the high-stakes dawn of her career in the late 1960s and persisted for over a decade. In her memoir, Then Again, she dissects this period with a blend of wry self-deprecation and unflinching honesty, revealing how the disorder manifested as cycles of binging and purging that she rationalized as mere excuses for her insecurities.
In 2017, Keaton told People that she struggled with bulimia during her time after the director of the show told her she needed to lose weight. Though she didn't blame him for her illness, believe me, it had to do with an overabundant need for more. Too much. It was a mental illness, she said. She said she became a master at hiding any evidence. How do you make sure no one knows? You live a lifestyle that is very strange. You're living a lie, she explained about her illness. She eventually recovered thanks to therapy, but said bulimia also robbed her of the ability to enjoy her time on Broadway.
The book, which alternates between Keaton's narrative and excerpts from her late mother Dorothy "Dottie" Keaton's journals, frames bulimia not as an isolated affliction, but as a symptom of deeper familial dynamics. Her mother's intellectual intensity and unfulfilled artistic dreams casting long shadows over Keaton's own quest for identity amid Broadway's glare and Hollywood's unforgiving spotlight. Keaton recounts how the disorder escalated during her relationship with Woody Allen, the cerebral director whose intellectualism both enchanted and exacerbated her self-doubt. She describes purging converging after lavish meals at his side, excusing it as a quirky habit while inwardly grappling with shame that eroded her sense of self. This wasn't mere anecdote. Keaton details the physical toll: electrolyte imbalances that left her faint during rehearsals for Hair in 1968, dental erosion from frequent vomiting, and a pervasive anxiety that she masked with her signature wide-brimmed hats and oversized menswear, garments that served as both fashion statement and emotional armor, a protective layer between her vulnerable self and the judging world. Recovery, she writes, was gradual and non-linear, catalyzed by therapy in the 1980s and the stabilizing force of motherhood after adopting her daughter Dexter in 1996 and son Duke in 2001. By the time Then Again hit shelves, she had been in remission for years, but the memoir's cathartic release, selling over 100,000 copies in its first week, positioned her as an unlikely advocate, destigmatizing eating disorders for a generation of women who saw echoes of their own struggles in her honest confessions. Parallel to this internal war was an external one etched into her skin, a protracted history with skin cancer that began in her early 20s and recurred with stubborn persistence. Keaton's first diagnosis came at age 21 in 1967, just as she was stepping into the role of Sheila in Hair, a basal cell carcinoma on her face, the most common yet treatable form of skin cancer, removed via a simple excision that left a faint scar she later romanticized as her first acting prop. This initial brush was a wake-up call, but vigilance waned amid the whirlwind of The Godfather, 1972, and Annie Hall, 1977, only to resurface decades later in a more aggressive guise: squamous cell carcinoma on her cheek, diagnosed around 2010, which demanded 2 intricate Mohs surgeries to excise the tumor layer by layer, preserving as much of her expressive features as possible. What elevated these episodes from personal ordeals to public crusades was their rootedness in heredity. Keaton often invoked her family's skin cancer legacy as motivation, recounting how her father John Jack Keaton battled recurrent basal cell carcinomas throughout his civil engineering career, while her Aunt Martha suffered so severely that surgeons removed her nose in a reconstructive bid to halt the cancer's spread. Post-surgeries, she became a fixture at Skin Cancer Foundation events, co-chairing galas and starring in PSAs that urged slip, slop, slap, slip on a shirt, slop on sunscreen, slap on a hat, her own extensive hat collection doubling as a wearable manifesto for sun safety. By 2020, she had undergone at least 3 additional basal cell removals on her arms and neck, each a stark reminder of UV exposure from her Santa Ana childhood beach days and unprotected film sets. But it's her professional legacy that truly cements Diane Keaton as one of the greatest actresses of all time. Diane Keaton's professional odyssey stands as a masterclass in reinvention and quiet audacity, a 6-decade arc that propelled her from a wide-eyed theater ingenue in Santa Ana, California, to an indelible force in American cinema. Born Diana Hall on January 5, 1946, she shed her given name early, adopting Keaton in homage to Buster Keaton's silent-era slapstick, a nod that foreshadowed her own penchant for blending physical comedy with emotional depth in ways that would define a generation of romantic comedies. Over her illustrious tenure, Keaton amassed a constellation of accolades: an Academy Award, a BAFTA, 2 Golden Globes, and the American Film Institute's Lifetime Achievement Award in 2017, while amassing a filmography exceeding 60 credits, from seminal blockbusters to intimate indies that showcased her incredible range as an actress. Her Broadway debut came swiftly in 1968 with Hair, stepping in as the understudy for the free-spirited Sheila Franklin, a role that demanded nudity and unbridled countercultural zeal amid the Vietnam War's shadow, a far cry from her Methodist upbringing. Though her run was brief, it caught the eye of Woody Allen, who cast her in his 1969 Broadway vehicle Play It Again, Sam, where she played the sardonic confidant to Allen's hapless Alan Felix, honing the deadpan wit that would become her signature trademark. But it was The Godfather, 1972, that catapulted her into the stratosphere. As Kay Adams Corleone, the prim wasp outsider ensnared in the Corleone family's mafia machinations, Keaton transformed a potentially peripheral role into a linchpin of moral ambiguity, her wide-eyed innocence clashing against Al Pacino's brooding Michael in a performance that earned her a BAFTA nomination.
Y'all remember The Godfather, she played Al Pacino's wife. Perfectly casted.
I didn't even know about The Godfather when I auditioned.
Really?
I stood up there and I read what you were supposed to read. That's it. Then he called me back.
The film's epical success, grossing over $250 million worldwide and winning Best Picture, cemented her as a dramatic heavyweight. She reprised Kay in The Godfather Part 2, 1974, delivering a BAFTA-winning portrayal of a betrayed wife whose steely confrontation in the finale resonated as a feminist cri de coeur, and again in The Godfather Part 3, 1990. But it was Annie Hall, 1977, that enshrined her as an icon, as the titular Annie of Toki Tars. Whimsical Midwestern transplant navigating Manhattan Manhattan's intellectual minefield with Alan's Alvy Singer, Keaton delivered a tour de force of vulnerability and verve. The semi-autobiographical romp shattered box office records, $40 million on a $4 million budget, and swept the Oscars, Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay for Alan, and Best Actress for Keaton, while snagging her a Golden Globe and BAFTA for Best Actress in a leading role.
So, even when I was young, I was way into fashion.
That was the beginning of my response to wearing whatever the hell I liked. And that was the beginning of me just playing around with whatever.
Her acceptance speech became law, and the film's innovations, fourth wall breaks, subtitles for inner thoughts, revolutionized comedy, with Keaton's menswear ensembles, baggy trousers, vests, fedoras, sparking a unisex fashion wave that Vogue dubbed the Keaton look. Yet beyond the accolades, the box office success, and the groundbreaking performances, Diane Keaton's greatest story was the one she lived off-screen, a life defined by unconventional choices, profound love, and an authenticity that would inspire millions. Legacy, love, and lasting impact. When we talk about Diane Keaton's personal life, we're talking about something extraordinary. A woman who chose to forge her own path in an industry and an era that constantly tried to put her in a box, to define her by traditional standards that she simply refused to accept.
Why do you think you never married?
I think that I never married because I didn't want to get married. I didn't choose to get married.
You didn't need to get married.
And the people that I was with, it was best that we were not married. I think I did the right thing.
Keaton never married, eschewing convention in favor of a self-forged path that led to single motherhood in her 50s, a decision that was radical for her generation and remains inspiring to this day. She was romantically linked to some of the most talented men in Hollywood, including Al Pacino and Warren Beatty, but none of these relationships led to marriage. Her first significant entanglement bloomed in 1969 amid the electric hum of Broadway's Play It Again, Sam, where she met Woody Allen. Their post-rehearsal dinner sparked a decade-long on-again, off-again romance that blurred professional and personal boundaries. Allen's attraction to her nervous energy and killer wit fueled 8 collaborative films, but Keaton ended it around 1980, citing in Then Again the exhaustion of their mirrored neuroses. She dove into a passionate affair with The Godfather co-star Al Pacino during the 1972 production, their opposites attract dynamic, her waspy restraint against his brooding intensity, igniting tabloid frenzy. They dated intermittently through the trilogy's filming until 1991. Post Part 3, with Keaton fondly recalling Pacino's killer face and entertaining soul that made her feel alive in the chaos, though their child-free bond dissolved amid diverging careers. But perhaps the most defining choice of Keaton's personal life was motherhood, which arrived as her most profound reinvention, a late-blooming chapter embraced with the fervor of a director seizing a risky sequel, transforming the 50-year-old icon into a devoted single parent.
It occurred to me from the age 39 on, and why it occurred to me that late is already a problem. I wish that it had occurred to me when I was like 25, but I came to it when I came to it.
Dexter, born in Mexico and adopted at 3 days old in 1996, became the catalyst. Duke followed 5 years later in 2001, a rambunctious toddler whose arrival prompted Keaton to scale back roles for PTA meetings and bedtime stories in a household alive with the clatter of toy trucks and her own off-key lullabies.
Do you like being a mother?
I love it, sure.
You do. What do you think surprised you most about motherhood?
The thing that has surprised me the most about it is the fact that that baby is truly amazing. And I think all parents must know this. They're more than anything you can imagine.
Raising them solo in her sprawling Pacific Palisades dream home, Keaton chronicled the humbling highs and lows in Then Again, confessing the terror of midnight fevers and the joy of Dexter's first I love you, mama, while Duke's Lego empires mirrored her architectural tinkering. In her final years, as health waned, the children became her anchors, with Dexter curating her Instagram pet posts and Duke aiding the 2025 home listing. And then there's the legacy. Oh, what a legacy Diane Keaton leaves behind. When news of her passing broke, tributes erupted from Hollywood's elite within hours, painting Keaton as a complete original whose presence infused every set with irrepressible magic. Bette Midler, her razor-sharp co-star in The First Wives Club, 1996, led the charge with a gut-wrenching Instagram post. The brilliant, beautiful, extraordinary Diane Keaton has died. I cannot tell you how unbearably sad this makes me. She was hilarious and completely without guile, Midler wrote, evoking memories of their penthouse revenge plotting and off-screen cackles. Steve Martin, who shared comedic sparks with her in Father of the Bride, Died, 1991, issued a tender tweet. Diane was magic, a rare soul who made the absurd feel profound. We lost a true original today. His words underscoring her ability to elevate family farce into heartfelt humanism. Reese Witherspoon choked back tears during an onstage moment at a Los Angeles charity gala mere hours after the news broke, declaring Keaton her mentor in mischief and grace, and urging the crowd, watch one of her movies tonight and just live your dream. Be your unique, interesting self, a nod to the late career buoyancy of Book Club 2018. Jane Fonda, a fellow trailblazer and booked out Club sister, posted a black and white throwback, captioning it, "It's hard to believe. Diane, you were the quirk in my straight line, the hat that made every day a fashion statement. Rest, my friend." Her words laced with the intimacy of decades-spanning activism and on-screen sorority. Goldie Hawn echoed this with a heartfelt video. Diane was magic, pure, unfiltered joy, wrapped in layers of genius. She taught us all to laugh at the mess, her tribute underscoring the film's enduring legacy as a blueprint for midlife reinvention. Viola Davis, drawing from Keaton's dramatic depths in Marvin's Room, 1996, shared a profound reflection. Diane defined womanhood for me, flawed, fierce, and forever forgiving. Angels are flying you home, invoking the leukemia-haunted tenderness that earned Keaton her third Oscar nod. Beyond the A-list elegies, fan sentiments on social media erupted into a decentralized wake, a digital vigil where millions dissected her over through memes, montages, and personal reckonings. By midday October 12th, hashed RIP Diane Keaton trended globally with over 5 million impressions as users from Los Angeles millennials to London tweens unearthed clips. One viral thread from @EmsYingling, a middle school librarian, confessed, "The 12-year-old in me will be forever grateful to Diane Keaton for the fact I could wear ties and vests, RIP," sparking 1,200 replies of outfit tributes mimicking her Annie Hall androgyny. Another user posted a heartfelt graphic. "With a heart full of gratitude, we say farewell to the luminous Diane Keaton, a fearless talent, a beacon of wit and vulnerability. Her light will forever shine through the stories she told," amassing 500 likes in hours.
She played uncomplicated roles. Like if you watch her, in all of her roles, she was always the unassuming person. She played the low key, the person who never really just had everything together, right? She always played those. She was really good at playing those roles where she didn't really have together, and that humanized her. That made a lot of people relate to her because they're looking at this this person who is on the screen and she's bigger than life, and this movie is centered around her. But she don't have it together. She's trying to figure it out just like everybody else.
Keaton's enduring influence on film genres manifests as a subtle directorial handprint, reshaping rom-coms from brittle confessions to empowered ensembles, dramas from shadowy betrayals to luminous self-reckonings. In romantic comedy, she pioneered the neurotic every woman, Annie Hall's fourth wall whispers, and subtitle thoughts democratizing inner turmoil, influencing everything from When Harry Met Sally to modern romantic comedies that followed. Her fashion alchemy, menswear as emotional exoskeleton, revolutionized screen style, from Annie Hall's vest and tie unisex to Something's Gotta Give's boho chic, inspiring countless fashion trends and earning her the Council of Fashion Designers of America's Icon Award in 2014 for eccentric chic's mainstreaming.
The thing about me is I love accessories. Accessories make all the difference because you can have the same black dress over and over and just punch it up with all kinds of things. I'm not talking just about scarves, which of course, as you know, I'm a big fan of. Turtlenecks, I'm a big fan of course, all kinds of rings and necklaces like what I'm wearing right now. And so I just think that they give you the basics. You can play around with them, a lot of different patterns and shapes and ideas.
Her advocacy legacy, forged in the fires of personal adversity, casts long shadows of empowerment, positioning Keaton as a reluctant yet radiant torchbearer for skin cancer awareness and eating disorder destigmatization, causes she championed with the same disarming candor that disarmed audiences. Her battle with bulimia, confessed in Then Again, shattered silences and spurred eating disorder advocacy organizations to report significant increases in help-seeking behavior. As we close this chapter on Diane Keaton's remarkable life, we're reminded that she leaves behind not just 2 children, Dexter, 30, and Duke, 24, but an entire generation that she influenced, inspired, and entertained. Her $100 million estate will ensure her children's financial security, but her true legacy, the films, the fashion, the fearlessness, will endure far longer than any monetary inheritance. In the end, Diane Keaton was more than just an actress, more than just a style icon, more than just a single mother who defied convention. She was a woman who lived authentically, loved deeply, and left an indelible mark on everyone who had the privilege of experiencing her work. As tributes continue to pour in from around the world, one thing becomes crystal clear. Diane Keaton didn't just act in movies. She taught us how to live. She taught us that it's okay to be different, to wear what makes you happy, to embrace your quirks and insecurities. She taught us that you don't need to be married to be complete, that motherhood can come at any age, and that the most important thing is to be true to yourself. She taught us that vulnerability is strength, that imperfection is beautiful, and that life is too short to worry about what others think. Rest in peace, Diane Keaton. Thank you for the laughter, the tears, the inspiration, and most of all, thank you for showing us that it's not just okay to be ourselves, it's the only way to truly live. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.